What is up, everybody? Drew Kerr, 49ers Sports Talk here with CG Ruthless. And today we are going to do something a little bit different. We are going to do a little bit of a happy hour. Doesn't look like there's anybody in yet, so we might wait a couple minutes, see if anybody shows up. We are going to be doing a beer review. I have two different beers that are from Tennessee. We're by no means sponsored by any of these people. And we're just going to shoot from the hip. And if you want to go first and tell us what kind of beer that you're sipping on today for happy hour.
Oh, definitely. Drew, I'll tell you what, man. This is a local beer company, so sponsored by. No, I'm not sponsored yet, but so it's Toyoga Sequoia Brewing Company. It's in the Central Valley, but if you guys see this video, consider promoting me. I don't mind helping your business, but shout out to them. Golden Ale or something for the 9. See, Highway 99 is in the local of the Central Valley. That's like a common thing. If you go to Highway 99, you're down Fresno or those areas. So, got to give a shout out to the Toyoga Sequoia Brewing Company.
Yeah, and the first beer that I'm going to be sipping on today is actually Hap and Harry. It's a Tennessee lager. These guys are affiliated with Jack Daniels. You can kind of see the logo. Looks a little bit like Jack Daniels. So there's a little story on the back. It says, "Great friends, great beer." I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they evolved or they branched off from Lynchburg, Tennessee. That's where the Jack Daniels distillery is. They've been around since 19 something. It doesn't say here on the back. They've been around for a long time, just like Jack Daniels. If you're ever in Tennessee, check them out. Again, we're not sponsored. We're just kind of doing a beer review today, along with giving you some Niners content. And so we're going to jump into that in just a minute. But first, if you guys, are new to this, please go ahead and like and subscribe to both channels. We are simulcasting. And, we really appreciate any kind of support. So go help promote the channels, both of us. And we're going to get into the beer review real quick and go ahead and pop your top. And you can start first with yours and kind of just let us know how that stuff tastes there.
Actually, this is the first time trying one of those brands. I've tried it in different places when I was at the Niner clubs, but shout out to the TNF group that I'm a part of in the Central Valley. It's one of these groups that I affiliate myself with. It's in the Central Valley. It's a Niner club. We go to this type of place. But, this is like the golden ale, so it's got to have a good taste. But this is a craft beer. I'm not too big on craft beer, but I'm going to have to give it a try because it's got a little strong taste. Ooh. Okay, I might need to get that again. This is a damn good beer. So,
is it hoppy or is it?
It's pretty nice hoppy. It just seems a little bit like it's not like a strong taste, but it's a little like I think the other one would have been stronger, but this one just seems about right. Like,
what's the alcohol percent on that one?
I'm gonna look it up. It doesn't really say it. It's probably like I'm guessing it's
like six something.
It's got to be a 6 or a 5 in between, but it's not that strong. But from a 1 to a 10, I got to give it an 8 because I see better beers, but I would want to buy it again. It's pretty good. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get it again. But, yeah, this is good beer. If you ever want one, maybe I'll send you one.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get in after mine and So that one's pretty smooth. It goes down easy. It's not hoppy at all. It almost has like a Jack Daniels taste to it. It's kind of weird. It has like a sort of like that sweeter, almost like whiskey taste to it. It's weird. It's interesting.
But it affiliates with it.
Yeah. So in the Niners topics that we're going to cover today, we are going to look at sort of like all the bubble players from last year, sort of those end of the roster type guys. And we're going to get in here and we're going to either say whether we think they're getting chopped or they are getting opt, like as in they're getting another opportunity this season. I hope you guys enjoyed that beer review. It's something new that we're going to add to the show. The show's going to be happening every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. So tune in for us every week. We will do this and have a new beer for you guys to try.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, I'm just going to jump into the chopper op, and the first player that I'm going to serve up on the chopping block for you is Danny Gray.
Oh, so chop and op. I say he is chop because the receiving group is pretty stacked. He just hasn't had an opportunity to showcase it, and if he hasn't been out of the doghouse, I don't see no other chance. There's a guy that we drafted in the 4th round who adds kind of a similar kind of skill set that Danny Gray has, but I think the one thing that Danny Gray has to showcase is he has to block. He can have a great preseason, but I don't think he's gonna make the roster for some reason. He's gonna have to stand out. So I say chop.
And injuries have been the biggest thing setting him back. He actually was involved in that thing with Rashee Rice in Texas, that high-speed crash on the freeway, and then they walked away. It's kind of a bad look for the Niners too. His name was mentioned in that. So I don't know if they actually drafted Jacob Cowing because of that, and we're gonna phase this guy out. I don't know. I think that he's probably gonna get a fair opportunity, but this is the last dance, so to speak, for Danny Gray to try to make this roster. He's been getting redshirted every year because of injuries, so I think that he's likely on the chopping block and likely to get chopped.
Yeah, I agree. To clear up what you just saw, there was reports of it, but it's been confirmed that he wasn't even involved.
Oh, I thought I saw an actual photo of him, and they zoomed in. I zoomed in on it. It looked just like him. So if it wasn't him, it was somebody that looked just like him. So
yeah, I had to get asked about it, and then somebody just told me that wasn't Danny Gray because the guy looks more bulkier than him and actually looks a little different.
Yeah, they were all wearing sweatshirts and hoodies over their head and stuff like that, though. So I don't know. Who knows? But either way,
shout out to Kenny. I think he said exactly what I was saying. But
yeah, I don't know. I'll have to dig deeper into that because I've seen the pictures and it kind of looked just like him. So
it does.
And they are boys. They both went to SMU at the same time. They're boys. So
they got that connection, but it's sometimes when you go to that party, you're gonna get somebody that looks similar to somebody else. You're gonna be, oh, that's that guy.
Speaking of Rashee Rice, I saw something funny. It was just a joke. It was Xavier Worthy got his car stolen from some parking lot in Kansas City just recently, and the caption was Rashee Rice is doing everything to make sure that he stays wide receiver one, and insinuating that he stole Xavier Worthy's car.
Yeah, because of the high speed stuff.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
On to the next player. We got a lot of players to get through, so we're going to try to buzz through these as not super quick, but
Tay Martin, chop. I'm not going to even worry about it. I think his chances of being on the practice squad, I think he has to stand out and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
And you got guys like Trent Taylor, Tariq Owens, all these back end guys that are going to push him for that spot.
It's going to be tough, but I think he had to showcase elsewhere. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I agree. Big play Tay, I think it's a wrap. I think he's out of here.
He's done.
All right, Jalen Moore and Sebastian Gutierrez, kind of the two guys who have been backup tackles behind Trent Williams and presumably Colton McKivitz.
Jalen Moore is op because even as a backup, he kind of showcased as a decent pass blocker. Not great as a run blocker, but he can't be worse than those other guys we have. So I got to say op for Jalen Moore. Chop for Sebastian Gutierrez, maybe in the practice squad, but I don't see him making the roster. So yeah, I guess I gave you two different sides. I think with Jalen Moore, you already know what you got with him, and he's on his final year of his rookie deal, and he's already shown some glimpse, and he can be a capable backup if injuries happen. So I would say he would be good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They did add, Chris Hubbard, and I think Chris Hubbard's going to be that second guy that kind of, he actually could push Colton McKivitz for the starting spot on the right side. So I think between those four guys, I think that the tackle position's looking a lot better than it did last year. So we'll see how it all shakes out in training camp. But I'm with you. Jalen Moore is definitely an op. I think he's staying at least another year, and Gutierrez chopped initially, maybe a practice squad candidate. So next guy up on the block is Nick Zakelj, Purdy's former roommate.
Nick Zakelj has that Brock Purdy treatment, so maybe he might get the op, but can he actually make the roster? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't want to sound like this has to do with Brock Purdy, but I think if it has to come down to him, it wouldn't surprise me if he makes the roster. It's because of the experience and because there's going to be certain players that you think we're going to make the roster, but for somehow he's that kind of guy that just makes the roster for some reason. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah, I think so. I think worst case scenario for Zakelj is practice squad. And, there's a lot of competition, Kingston, Nugent, Mays, Pooney. Pooney, I think, is going to leapfrog Zakelj. Zakelj was like a main backup last year. So I think Pooney, I'm like going out on a limb here, but I feel like Pooney has like all pro like ability. I think this kid is like, he's going to blow everybody's socks off, and, he's going to justify the pick, where they picked him and everything like that. So I'm a big fan of Dominic Pooney and can't wait to see this guy strap up.
No, I mean, his only competition would just be Jared Kingston. I don't know if he'll make – I mean, that's going to be a tough one. Like, Kingston just has to show out during this training camp. I just think that's – because you're going to always have that one player that you should expect to be cut, but for whatever reason, he's just here.
Let me ask this. You probably have, like, more knowledge on this than me, and maybe somebody in the comments do. What is Ben Barch's versatility? Is he only a center?
No, he's more of a guard. You can swing him to tackle. Like, okay. I think his versatility is exactly what you get with Daniel Brunskill. Like, that's how you look at the versatility to, like, how Daniel Brunskill played all multiple positions. Barch does exactly that, but I think they're trying to have him at guard right now.
Yeah. Well, like per our lads depth chart, they have him backing up Jake Brendel. But there's also Ted Nugent and Bryson Mays, they're in that fold. So it'll be interesting to see how these backup offensive line spots kind of shake out. So I'm gonna jump to the next one because we got a pretty big list here. Braden Willis. I already know your answer.
Come on, man. This is like I'll say op because there's no proven backup tight end right now. And, the interesting part about Braden Wilson's situation is he's already got ahead of schedule. He's already been getting snaps. He's already showcased him as a blocker. I think what they say, no block, no rock, I think you're going to see some opportunities with Braden Willis. So, yeah, it's pretty obvious. So, yeah.
I think you and I click here. We both want Braden Willis to be tight end too. He's a former Sooner. We're both Sooners fans. So I'm with it. Like, I want to see this dude just ball out. Plus, he's got an awesome last name, right? Like,
yeah, what you talking about?
What's wrong with Willis? I mean, Patrick Willis, right? Like, so Braden Willis, I think is my favorite guy to be the tight end too. He did dress for the Super Bowl. I think he got some snaps in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I think that sky's the limit for him. And the next guy as well, Cameron Latou.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people wrote him off last year because all the reports coming out of camp before he got injured were, he's dropping everything. He looks lost. There's a lot of negative reports on him and everything like that. And he's a little bit young at the position. So for me, like Cameron Latou, I think is a very good candidate to get another op at least. Yes. If he starts doing the same crap in training camp and stuff like that, he's out of here, I think. And so it's feast or famine with him. I think it's a 50-50 shot. It's up to him. Saw some footage on Lombardi's channel just before we hopped on here of training camp, and he looks swole. You could see him in the background. He was in street clothes. This guy looks freaking massive. And he's
going to have a better training camp for him to even get the number 2 job. But I think it's pretty much Braden's job to take right now. I mean, Latu, he's kind of showcased what he could be, but I've said this before, and I think I was getting a lot of this little buzz about, oh, you're just hating on him because you're a Sooners fan. I'm like, dude, have you seen how Latu play, bro? He switched, like it wasn't that long ago that he switched from linebacker to tight end. Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of guys you don't want to take chances on at most, but I think you look at upside. You see what Latu can be. I'm going to go on a limb and say he's our Vance McDonald 2.0 for some reason.
Yeah, I like that. I like that comp because he does play a lot like Vance McDonald.
Braden has potential to be like he has potential to be Jordan Reed in a way, but Latu just gives me that Vance McDonald vibe for some reason.
I think that he could probably block a little bit better than Jordan. Jordan Reed was a little bit more of a receiving tight end. In fact, he almost, at least like physique wise, like comps a little bit more to Braden Willis. But Latu, he looks like he's jacked. Like he's huge.
He's jacked, but remember Vance
looks like
too.
He looks like he can almost play offensive line. That's how big he's got.
No, but Latu looks jacked just like Mr. Vance McDonald was. Remember? Mr. I can't catch a cold.
yeah. Until he went to Pittsburgh, and then he started catching everything. Yeah. Like, come on, bro. Like, why do you got to do it over there? You couldn't do it over here.
And then he retired too, but yeah.
I actually saw him in person coming out of the Niners facility a few years back. He was driving like an SUV of some kind, and he threw up a peace sign when we were walking by. We kind of waved at him. So he seemed like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, they all seem pretty cool when you meet them, but Barry as football players, you're part of saying, man, you guys were terrible.
Right. All right. Jordan Mason.
I gotta say op because I don't know, man. Like he's kind of been on the roster for a while. He would probably be a surprise cut, but I would say he would make the team because he already knows our offense. He would probably at worst be our fourth running back. I just think it would be too dumb for us to cut him. So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that for me, like you guys have brought up good points about him not being able to pass block and drafting both Guerrero and not drafting Schrader, but bringing Schrader on. Schrader, there's a lot to like about Schrader. They're going to push Mason for that spot. Yeah. And if Mason can't if he cannot pass block this whole like training camp, if he's looking like he has in the past, I think he's done so. I think he's a chop. So they might trade him. They might try to trade him to, God forbid, like send him to Dallas because they have no run game. And I think he's a phenomenal back. I mean, he averaged 5.6 yards a carry last year. Not a whole lot of carries, small sample size, but he did get 5.6. I mean, he was pounding the rock. Like that dude is like baby beast mode. So I would hate to see Jordan Mason leave personally, but I think it's very, very possible.
It's very possible because of the competition at running back, and plus we just drafted this kid from Louisville, so it's anybody's game. I mean, the worst thing we can do is give the Cowboys freaking Mason. I would hate to see that happen. Just imagine him for that team.
If you're going to trade him, get him over to the AFC, send him over to the Raiders or somebody that's somebody like that. Next guy up that we're going to talk about, Alex Barrett.
Chop. I don't see why he's on our roster. He keeps getting on the practice squad. He seems like the kind of guy that tries, he's one of those kind of guys, you're not fast enough. You don't play it at a high level, but at least you bust your, that's what most coaches would do if they make cuts like this. But I think he's the kind of guy that's probably just going to be on our practice squad once again. I don't see no reason why he would be on our roster. He has to have a really good training camp, and I don't see it. I think he's going to have at least a similar performance of somebody else. Like he's going to have like what, like that one guy named Marcus Rush that we had one time. He has to have that kind of performance to make a strong case. And I don't think. Yeah.
Sort of related to the defensive line. Just going back to the footage that I saw earlier of OTAs today. Holy crap. Jordan Elliott is massive. I did not think he was that big. I mean, you got to go check it out.
Run stopper is
a monster. Like he's a space eater. Like you're not going to move that guy, especially if he gets leverage. He's bigger. I feel like he's bigger. He's wider than Javon Kinlaw. He's just a mammoth. He's huge. So I don't know about his football play and everything like that. He's probably going to be a run stopper and on first and second down. But anyway, back to Alex Barrett. I agree. He's a chop. Practice squad. He's going to be a chop onto the practice squad. I don't think he's gone. He's good depth. You know, if you're running thin at defensive line, he can come up. So,
yeah.
Next up, Kalia Davis.
I gotta say op because they actually like this guy so much. They've tried to keep him on the roster, so I think this is his opportunity to prove it. So we didn't go into the draft to go get a defensive line. We only signed a couple of guys to fill the depth piece, right? So this is pretty much the opportunity for Kalia Davis to capitalize. So I don't see no reason why there's no reason he would be cut. I think he has the talent to make this roster. I mean, he went from a linebacker in college and moved to transition. He has a unique skill set at D tackle that is unheard of. So I think they really like this kid. So I got to say op.
Yeah. For me, I am kind of like 50-50 with this guy. Like, he flashes, he shows signs of being able to be a really good player in the league, but then there's times where I'm like, you just disappear, bro. Like, you just get eaten up when he does get some of his opportunities. I don't think he's not like, in my eyes, like maximizing every single opportunity. If you're going to have limited opportunities, I don't see him maximizing every opportunity. And there's the injury stuff with him. So I think he's a chop for me. I think I got to go chop here. But we agree to disagree.
We agree to disagree.
Face, right?
That's all good. That's all good. Like, I can see where you're coming from because he hasn't shown enough, like, in those limited times. But that one limited time did matter when he did sack Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's got to be a good showcase. I mean, but
true.
Okay.
That's a single highlight on his resume. So you got to do it more in the league, especially when you get your ops. And there's also a lot of depth at the position. So it's going to be very hard for a lot of these fringe guys, these bubble guys, to make it.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if he does. He is good size, though. You know, he's pretty decent size defensive lineman. So I don't know. We'll see. There's going to be some camp battles for sure. And, you know, cream of the crop, right? Like, you do the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Oh, Randy Macho Man Savage. All right.
Yeah.
On T.Y. McGill.
Well, brother, let me put it this way. He's got more experience, but he's kind of been the guy that's been going from the practice.
Hold on. You can't do the voice without sunglasses. You got to get the sunglasses on.
Next time.
Nice.
But next time I'll do that. But well, I think he's going to be a candidate on. I would say it would be opportunity, but I would say he would be cut and go on our practice squad and then maybe have opportunities when injuries kick in. So I'm going to go two ways. I want to say op, but he's going to still have a chance to be on the roster at some point.
I really, I feel like he's another potential chop. I think that he's kind of been what he is for the most part, but there's just so many guys at that position. They just got, you know, Shaquille Brown, Evan Anderson, a lot of these guys, you know, and, you know, in front of them are like Kevin Givens and Jordan Elliott and, you know, Drake Jackson, Gross Matus. There's a lot of these, Robert Beal. You know, there's just so many spots that they're going to have to, there's going to be a lot of guys cut, and you probably can't keep everybody on the practice squad. So that's just going to be the way it is, I think.
No, but he would be the perfect candidate of we're going to chop him, but he's going to have an opportunity on our practice squad where he's going to have a chance. So, I would say chop in too, but I would say he would be the perfect example of the exception.
Or he's like a chop to op on the
chop to op. Yeah, chop. Okay, we should put it that way. Chop to op. Yeah, makes sense.
Next guy, I really like this guy, but I'm unsure with all the linebackers on the squad. You got Bethune that was just added. This guy, you know, Jalen Graham was a little bit hurt. Thoughts on that?
Well, brother, this guy has got. He looks like Keenan Turner, brother. This man is built like a Giselle, man. This is potential. This is something you can't teach. I don't see no reason why he doesn't. He's gonna make the roster. I think what's gonna get him set back, like you said, maybe the injuries, or maybe because of D. Winters is probably outplaying him a little bit. But I don't think that's the case. All he has to do is beat out Flanagan Fells, which Flanagan Fells is probably gonna be cut. So I'm gonna say,
well, it's not just those guys. There are a total of nine linebackers right now. and I think they want versatility
and experience.
So right now they have the primary backups as D Winters to Dre Greenlaw, Ezekiel Turner, special teamer from Arizona, behind Warner, Flanagan Fowles behind Campbell.
I would honestly take Graham over Flanagan Fowles, no offense, but I think you already seen what you get with, like, I like what I've seen from Jalen Graham. I think he kind of like played safety too, which is a huge asset to the defense, which we've kind of valued the most. This guy is only scratching the surface, man. So I think
one element just to point out for Flanagan Fowles though is his special teams value. Like, does Jalen bring that same high level of play on special teams? Because that's what a lot of these guys are going to be, are special teamers.
No, I think he will.
So yeah,
I don't think.
Yeah, and he has that. He probably has a little bit more speed than Flanagan Fowles, former defensive back. So I think that if he can stay healthy, I think you're probably right.
No, I mean, it would be kind of hard to like cut a guy that's younger and cheaper. Like, Flanagan Fowles is a good football player too, but I have to say, if Jalen's going to make the roster, he has to beat that guy out, which I think he could.
And somebody that I didn't put on here that's almost Jalen Graham's equivalent because he came in the same year as D Winters. I think D's got a spot. Me personally.
Well, D is like somebody that we have like huge, like we're pretty high on. But I feel like one thing that people don't realize about D Winters is his freaking tackle misses, bro. That's what really frustrates me a lot about him.
Well, and I like Jalen Graham better. He was a rookie.
Yeah, so. but you gotta be able to make those tackles, man. Like, you can't be missing them tackles like that. Like, what I've seen from Jalen Graham is he doesn't miss. Like, you know what they say, when you come at the king, you best not miss. Jalen Graham does not miss, but
Jalen, we don't really know what we have too much with Jalen Graham because he's only really had preseason.
He's got to play
ops, right? So we won't know for sure until we get into training camp and how those guys. But those are the two guys, right? Like, it's D Winters and Jalen Graham. You got to figure out who you want to. They might keep both. I think they're probably going to keep Ezekiel Turner, another special team ace behind Fred Warner as the main backup. But then Tatum Bethune, he adds another. It's like those three guys, right? Like Tatum Bethune, D Winters, Jalen Graham. Somebody's likely getting the axe.
No, I think one of the special team linebackers is going to get cut, bro. I think it's between Flanagan Fowles or Ezekiel Turner. I don't see no reason why they would cut Jalen Graham, bro. I don't see it. Like, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they would cut him necessarily, but yeah, I mean that's going to be the battle. And then there's also Curtis Robinson, who's a veteran. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be a very tight battle. I'll say that. It's going to be a very tight battle, and there's going to be a lot of different factors, especially special teams, that are going to be considered there.
Wait, did we just sign this guy Pete Warner? I don't know. Somebody put Pete Warner out there.
Who's Pete Warner? Fred Warner's cousin?
No, I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't even. Dude, I want to check it out. I'm gonna check it out, see if we did sign him or not, because I don't think he's on our radar. They just said Pete Warner. Like, these are mostly all the Niner guys, but I don't think we have him on our roster yet. Nope. I don't know where they get this info from. He's on the Saints.
Yeah. Okay. All right, moving on. We are going to do a 3-4. 3-4. We'll start with Ambry Thomas.
Ah, man, dude. You know what? Just for the last couple of years, I've been kind of hard on Ambry Thomas. So I'm going to say op, because anytime I kind of said he's going to get cut, I've always been wrong. So maybe this is the I guess you could say the reverse logic. I hope I'm wrong again, but I'm gonna say op because they like this guy so much, and there's something to like about him, but he's a little inconsistent at times. Samuel Womack, Samuel Womack.
Do you want to do one at a time, or do you just want to go through them and then
we can go one at a time, I guess. Ambry Thomas, it just seems to me like he's always kind of the guy that we always kind of like doubt or ruled out, but never gets cut. So I'm going to have to just go with op until otherwise, I guess.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. I think that one thing to note is that prior to Wilkes, he was in Kyle's doghouse. He was in D'Amico's doghouse. He was really in Salah's doghouse his rookie year. So I think that I'm not sure if there's something to that or what, but he was, and Sorensen was here for all that. So I don't know if there's going to be some weird like positioning thing where they're like, oh yeah, you're back in the doghouse, get to the back of the line, and then what Samuel Womack.
Samuel Womack, he just hasn't really got much of an opportunity. They don't seem to really want to give this guy a chance. So there is something that tells me like I think he might be the odd man out for some reason. He has to stand out on special teams, which he could, but did you see what they did last year with this guy? I don't see why they can't keep this guy if they already drafted a cornerback and add some other cornerbacks. Samuel Womack's going to have a great training camp for him to make this roster. So I'm going to say chop for right now because they don't seem too high on this kid anymore. Like his rookie year they were, but not this year.
It's just so weird to me. Like every time this guy gets a chance, he's like making a play. Like I don't get it. Like he's physical. Like he's not afraid to hit. I think obviously we drafted, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? The corner from Florida State. Anyway.
Green.
Green. Renardo Green. He's gonna bury all these guys. So I think that he's got a really good chance to start. It's gonna be Dom and Green. We already know Lenore and Ward are secured spots. So I think that these backup guys are just going to be fighting again for special teams. Was it Samuel Womack that the ball hit on the punt in the Super Bowl? Was it him?
Nah, it was I think I know who you're talking about.
It was Luter. It was the next guy.
It was Luter.
So do the Niners look at Luter and go, you screwed you gave Mahomes the ball on the 15? You gave him points, bro. I don't know. I liked Luter coming out as a rookie. Like, I think he would have been a high draft pick had he not, been coming out with injury concerns. But I think that's going to be the memory that sticks in their head when it comes time to cut people.
But I just don't see what they don't see with Samuel Womack. So I think they're just not really feeling this guy anymore. But since we're going with Darrell Luter, okay. Darrell Luter is probably a guy they really like, so they're going to try to give him he's probably going to get the Abry Thomas treatment. They're going to give him another chance at least, or give him the Dante Johnson treatment a little bit. So Luter didn't get a chance to showcase much on defense, so I think they're going to see what he can do during training camp, and you'll get to see what he's all about. But I really do think it's usually the person in the middle that you just put there. It just seems like the odd man is the middle for some reason.
Yeah. And I don't know how many corners they're gonna keep. They have this Keemon Hall guy that they added, and Chase Lucas, veteran from Detroit, Rock Ya-Sin from Baltimore. So there's a lot of guys fighting for these spots. So those are all bubble guys as well, all those guys that I named. I mean, some of these veterans might get cut, but the Niners are trying to fill that depth and do it with a lot of good players. So it's very encouraging. I think they're putting together another Super Bowl roster. So, yeah. Also, just to the people in the comments, we are going to do a Q&A at the end of this, so stick around for that.
Yeah,
we're almost through this, so we will get to your comments, and anybody that has questions will be happy to kind of address those as we get to it.
Cheers to all the followers, man.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Last person, there's a lot more people that we should be listing, but this is just sort of the last person that I had put. We could look at the depth chart and you guys could, chime in at the end, like I said. And the last one's Taylor Hawkins. He's been a practice squad guy for a majority of the time. I think he got elevated maybe once, twice. What are your thoughts there?
I think he's kind of the guy that does somehow. Like, I think for him to make this team is going to have a good preseason, and you look at the safety depth. It's not that deep. I say op because what we saw in that last game against the Rams, I think he's shown that he can be a guy that can step in if he needs to do that, So I think that's a guy that you can't sleep on. I think I think everybody's been saying we need to go sign Justin Simmons for depth or those other safeties. Nah, I think Taylor Hawkins can be the guy that makes the roster. I think the opportunity presents itself for the kid.
Yeah, and the only guy in front of him for that main backup spot is George Odom, and George Odom we know is like a special teams ace. He doesn't really add a whole lot as a full-time depth safety. So I think that there's potential for Taylor Hawkins, and then there's also Jalen Mahoney that they added as an undrafted guy. Where did he come from? Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Tennessee guy there. Eric Harris, just solid depth again. I think Malik Mustafa could actually, if Hufang is not ready, Malik Mustafa could start the year out.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, but the way, this is exactly what I'm saying, media. That's what I think. It's not going to be a dead piece getting Simmons. He's a starter. That's why I think Hawkins is going to be the guy making this roster.
Yeah, and there also will be other safeties cut from other teams, so the Niners will look into that as well. I think you could look at some veterans just for solid depth. I mean, they've done that before where, X team cuts somebody and then they bring them in, So there's going to be almost like a second free agency frenzy, if you will, after cuts are made.
The cut down guys. I guess we call them the cut down crews.
And that's a good segue right into this last thing. Are there any surprise cuts or trades that you can foreshadow or foresee?
Well, I'm not a prediction on some ways, but if we're looking for a surprise cut or trade, oh my God, this would be let's say Isaac Guerrero has a great training camp in preseason. Elijah Mitchell can be on the way out. I can see the Niners trade Mitchell for whatever he's worth. Let's say we get a 6th or 5th round pick out of Elijah Mitchell. I could see that as a possibility. That could be the surprise guy that's gone. Like, let's say they do like Guerrero so much to the point where maybe they don't need Mitchell anymore. I would say for a cut guy, the cut guy to me, like, if we were to go by a surprise cut, I would be a shocker, but I don't think this is going to happen. But I'm going to say this. My surprise cut would be Jake Brendo. I don't see it happening. That's the truth. I don't see it happening, but I can say I'm putting it as a surprise cut because I don't see it happening. Yeah. So it would be a shocker.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any surprise cuts. A lot of people have said, Tanner Mordecai is going to leapfrog Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen has the experience. You know what you're getting. He's played in the NFL. He's done it at a high level in some games. So, he was Joe Burrow's backup. He's our third guy. Josh Dobbs is going to be the second guy. So I think that, there has been, talks of that. I think that some people have said like Tanner Mordecai is going to leapfrog him because of the athleticism, but I don't see that happening. And I do think that Mitchell has a chance of being not cut. They're not going to outright cut Mitchell. He's too good of a player, but they might trade him. And Mitchell can't stay healthy to save his life. So if the Niners could get something from him or for him, I think that's good value.
Yeah. The only way this would be a surprise cut is if one of our rookie linemen actually outperforms Brendo, which I don't see happening, but that would be my surprise cut because if
Drake Nugent comes out and he's just like knocking people all over the place and he's a rookie.
That would be my shocker, yeah.
Just comes out of nowhere. But I still think they would keep Brendel as at least a backup,
But it wouldn't be but it would be a surprise if they cut him anyways. That's what I'm saying. It would be a surprise.
Right, yeah. Surprise cuts, that's what we're saying. Surprise cut for me. I mean, I don't think this would be much of a surprise, but Drake Jackson.
Ooh, that would be a shocker because we got we got him in the second round and we were pretty high on him. I think this wouldn't be a shocker to me because what if Robert Beal Jr. has one of the best training camps and this guy balls out, bro? That can be.
Yeah, and he put weight on. He's had an NFL offseason. So yeah, it could happen, right?
I'll keep that in mind.
But I don't, chances are it probably won't. But, if he's coming off injury, we'll see how he looks. But it's something to monitor, at least.
No, I think Robert Beal might, this might be a shocker. I think Robert Beal might outbeat Jackson for that role.
I could see it happening. Yeah. And then trades, if there's any kind of trade, I think you'd have to maybe look at like a linebacker. Maybe like you said, Flanagan Foles. Maybe they, send him to Tennessee like they did with Aziz. Maybe something like that happens. Maybe Flanagan Foles is a good trade candidate because of his special teams value. So maybe something like that. All right. Well, we're going to open it up to everybody in the comment section. You guys have been great. You've been commenting.
Cheers.
And cheers to you all. So let's see. Are there any questions in here yet? There probably is. And I'm sorry if we missed those. Got into this.
Yeah, I'll answer. I don't know why Granddad's asking about this right here. It's a sleeve shirt, but that's to answer your question. It kind of does look like a sweatshirt, if I'm being honest. It looks like a sweatshirt, but it's a sleeve shirt. Oh, and I got it from Fanatics, actually. I got it from Fanatics Sports. So, yeah.
Here, let's see. We'll address this one. Kenny, Brandon Allen would be flattened with this O-line. Yeah, I don't know. He's got a quick release, and he's got a good head on his shoulder, so I think he could manage to move just enough in the pocket to get the ball off. And I don't think that the offensive line is that bad, Kenny. I think that they're kind of average. They're mid-level. They're not, fantastic or spectacular, but they're not, bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Like, I don't expect Allen to be spectacular. He's just going to fit the system and just do nothing spectacular at all.
All right. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I don't know. I'm going to go up and look and see if there's any other things that maybe we missed.
I'm
going to put this one up because they acknowledge your TikTok.
Hey,
shout
out to Wolfie. He's got I think he's got at least 600 followers on TikTok, if I remember. Yeah, he always kind of responds to my videos a lot, and then he kind of makes similar stuff too. But if you guys haven't checked out this guy's channel, he has a pretty decent follower. But on YouTube, he's actually kind of been doing his own thing. So go give this guy a sub if you guys want to.
He also said Womack will stay, Luter and Thomas gone.
I kind of disagree, but we'll see.
It's going to be a tight battle. I can say that for sure. I think that there's going to be, yeah. Oh, this is a good question from Kenny. What happens if George Kittle goes down? Is our tight end 2 that will lead this team and block on the right side?
I'll tell you what. Braden's going to be the guy. Braden Willis going to save the day. And then you got Latu, and then you got that Eric, or whatever his name is. He might be the blocking specialist if he makes this roster.
We also have Larry Kruger's guy, Mason Pline.
But he's got potential. He's a project, but yeah.
Long shot.
Oh, yeah, Mason Pline. I think he does have a chance because this tight end group isn't that deep, so I could see.
Let me ask this. Is he someone that you can stash on the practice squad?
He could be, but it would be concerning if another team sees it in the preseason that this guy can be a tight end for any other team. So I think Mason Pline is a project, so he could be on our practice squad and maybe have a chance to make it next year. But I wouldn't want to take that chance.
I got to shout out my boy, Jason Mobbs. I've known this guy for a really long time, California, and he thinks this. Mason ain't going nowhere.
Well, Mason he's a good running back. It's just his pass blocking's been the one thing that's been keeping him off the field at times, So, I mean, that's a knock on him is his pass blocking. I think he can play.
I kind of agree. I do agree with this. I think that because of the perception, not only of the fans, but I think that the perception that the coaches have of Latu, because of that, I think that Latu is going to have to emerge and just kind of have one of those camps where he's standing out a lot.
He has to get better at his catching too, so that would be the main key factor. Yeah,
Tommy.
Tommy's the funniest guy. If you like
you see Tommy everywhere.
No, but
Tommy's
if you
on all the Niners channels.
Yeah, but if you like sense of humor and you like it and you like some type of music channel, Tommy's the guy, man. Tommy's like he can be a little bit of I don't want to say it, but he's a little bit of a smart A word. and he knows, he knows that I rock with you, Tommy. You know I rock with you, but you are a little bit of
show some love to 49er media. McGill practice squad for sure. I think I agree with that. I think that if there's anywhere from McGill, I think he's going to land on the practice squad.
Yeah, we all want Larry to be right about Pline. I interviewed Mason Pline. I love the kid. It's just I think he could make the team as the 4th tight end. That's how much I like the kid.
Let's see. Do we have anything else in here? I've missed some of these newer comments. I was just kind of scrolling back up through y'all's Saubert. This is a guy that we keep forgetting about that came over free agency from the Broncos. I watched some of his highlights. I don't know what the knock is on him. There's obvious knocks on him because he's not a starter. I don't even think he's been a tight end too, but I do think that he adds value with the blocking.
That's what he is.
Sort of like Charlie Warner, just straight up like a blocking guy that can sometimes sort of catch. And I think that's how the 49ers view him.
I think that's his role. I think that's what we're going to have him on the roster for as a blocking specialist. But Tommy knows it.
All right, Tommy, rock on.
Yeah, he knows it. But
Montez, what does this mean?
This is the guy that there was a guy in the draft that didn't even have college experience. He played at the CFL, but he was one of the first. I think he was one of the very first rare athletes to not have a college experience and actually play at the CFL level, and became a draft prospect. You're 22 years old, you haven't played a single down college football, and you go to the CFL or different leagues out of nowhere, and the Jets take this kid in the 5th round or something, right? That's crazy. I wanted that kid. I like good stories.
Yeah. Sala or Ryan took him.
Tommy with his jokes, that's the fun part about him. He's just a good joker, but yeah. Yeah, I think they see him as a gym as a nowhere, a lot for an unknown. Yep. Great story. Looked him up. Yeah, I was trying to get him on my show for an interview, but he just never got back to me. I would have loved to get the guy on the show, but nah. I think he's going to be a good story for the Jets because they can just use as much talent as they can get.
Yeah, I'll have to check him out. The Jets I think they're a great defense. What position does this guy play?
Cornerback.
Okay. Yeah, they're not hurting on defense very much. They have a solid defense, and I think their offense is probably a little bit more worrisome. It's kind of a makeshift offensive line, and Aaron Rodgers' mobility, I don't think it's going to be there, not like previous seasons. So that's going to be something to watch. Is he going to be able to get away from Leonard Floyd, who basically popped Rodgers' Achilles in that game?
Yeah,
and then Bosa coming from the other side, and then all the other guys in the middle, Hargrave, and I don't know about the Jets' offensive line.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the most challenging part. Well, their starting tackle is Tyron Smith, and they did draft an offensive lineman, so they're trying to protect their quarterback. So they know what's going to happen if they don't.
All right, another question. Has Juwan? Yes, he did. He signed it back in March. Oh, yeah, he signed it in March. It was March 11th or March 10th or something like that. Yeah, he signed it in March. And I actually had thought in a couple of my previous videos that he had not, but he definitely has signed. So
he showed it on Instagram or something like that. He showed a signature of the tender or some shit like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen if he showed up for OTAs today. I know Debo did.
He's not expected.
Debo did. A lot of the rookies did. Ayuk obviously didn't.
He hasn't shown up. I looked it up.
Pearsall, Owens, all the rookies showed up. Actually, I didn't even see Cowing, but I'm sure he was there.
Yeah, he was out there. I seen a video of him running with Pearsall and the rest of the guys. But let's do one more question. Actually, who would be the one player that has a unexpected performance in the preseason that would be too hard to cut? You're going to always have that one player that you just say, oh, he's going to be cut, right? So let's go with that question. I'm gonna ask you first, and then I'll try to answer myself too.
Can you repeat it? Sorry, I was trying to close some things in.
All right. So let's say, there's always that one player that you expect to be cut, right? But let's say he has a great preseason, great offseason. Who's that one guy where it's like, shoot, we got to keep this guy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that it's probably going to go to the wide receivers, right? Like I think a lot of people are like Ronnie Bell. I've seen a lot of Ronnie Bell's name thrown out there, but I think he makes the six. I actually think that he is maybe not a game day dress every week, but he definitely is one of the six. I think that makes it. But I have seen his name thrown out a lot just because of the two rookies and all the depth and Trent Taylor and all these other guys that they've added. I've seen Ronnie Bell's name thrown out a lot, but I don't think so.
So Ronnie Bell, I think that's an obvious choice from last year because he had one of his best preseasons. So since you already took Ronnie Bell, I already know what to put out there. I'm going to say that a lot of you guys have actually wrote this guy off, and I don't think anybody's given this guy enough respect, man. Like, I'm serious. Like, what is it? What does this guy got to do for y'all to prove? So I'm going to say his name. So this guy, I feel like he's going to have a great preseason. I'm going to say Jalen Graham. No way you cut this guy. No way. I'm going to say Jalen Graham. He's getting overlooked.
I think, yeah. And, the biggest thing with him is just stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, he can contribute. And if he doesn't stay healthy, they'll keep him. They'll redshirt him again. But hopefully that's not what happens, and he gets a fair shot.
I can see maybe Kingston sneaking into the roster. Maybe he has a good preseason. We'll see. But I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, yeah, I think that it was a fun show. We'll definitely be doing this again, guys. So, tune in next week, next Tuesday. We'll have some new beers for you. We'll have some new thoughts on, OTAs, and hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe somehow, some way, Brandon Ayuk gets signed or extended. They might try to make him play on his 5th-year option, but hopefully not, because that might mess with the locker room, might mess with guys who are trying to get paid next year. So let's hope that the Niners can hammer this out and get it done before training camp at the very minimum. But yeah, I'm just putting it out in the universe. Let's hope that he gets signed or extended. And do you have any final thoughts?
Oh yeah. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure, I'm very optimistic that a deal will get done before training camp or during training camp. I believe Ayuk's contract will be taken care of. This is just how the 49ers operate. We're not going to pay our players in the early part of the offseason. Cap space is going to kick in because of what we did with Eric Armstead. That's a horrible,
June 1st,
which is already past. It's going to be past June 1st. It's already like at that point because we're already at
another week.
Yeah, it's at the end of May, and I believe a contract will be done. So nothing to worry about.
So maybe not next week. Maybe not next week's Tuesday show, but the week after that, maybe it's possible. We'll see what happens. But anyway, if you guys have not gone to CG's TikTok channel, he's got really good stuff over there. He's growing at a rapid rate. And, if you have not subscribed to either channel, please go ahead and, hit the sub button and give this video a like to bump it up and everything like that. And, anything else?
Yeah, and for those people who support my channel, man, give Drew a subscribe, man. 49er Sports Talk. Give this guy a subscribe. Go check out the videos. I mean, consistently, man. This man's creative, very innovative, very passionate, just like we are. Just give this guy a sub, man. Let's get him to 1K at some point.
Appreciate you saying that. All right, appreciate everybody in the comments. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And that is it for today's show. And we will see you next time. Appreciate you.